Hey guys, I am excited to announce that the Andrew Gonzalez podcast is brought to you in partnership with Logos Bible Software. Guys, this has taken my Bible study to the next level. It's an incredible resource, and I want to share it with you. If you'll click the link in the show notes, I'm gifting you 60 days free for you to explore this resource and get into the Word like never before. I hope you enjoy the episode. And I'll never forget this. He said, they don't need your words. They just want you. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Gonzalez podcast. Good to be back with you here today. Got a couple of things on my mind. First of all, just got out of Campmeeting 2026 here in the state of Arkansas. One thing that I love is Campmeeting season. And when it comes to the Church of God, every region or state has their own camp meeting. And so there are camp meetings going on all over the country right now. I love when the camp meeting flyers start coming out and you get to see who's preaching where and things of that nature. I just love everything about camp meeting. So this year it was held in Jonesboro at The Rock. The Rock just so happens to be the largest church that we have in our state, and incredible church. They're not far from the campus of Arkansas State University. A couple of shout outs. I want to give some shout outs here to some things that I enjoyed, some people I enjoyed being around. First of all, we had some excellent ministers this year preach to us at the camp meeting. Every regional or state camp meeting has a member of the executive committee come and preach one night of the camp meeting. And so we don't typically know who it's going to be until we're told by Cleveland who's coming our way. So Bishop Tom Madden was chosen to come here to Arkansas. And I love Bishop Madden. We've had several one-on-one interactions over the years. But the reason I love him so much is his vision for young people. The Church of God has a winter conference for youth called Winterfest. The closest one that we go to is in Branson, Missouri. This was the brainchild. This was the burden of Bishop Tom Madden many, many years ago, as he paired with a few local youth pastors and launched this ministry that has just turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. It was at Winterfest where my oldest daughter, Madison, received the baptism of the Holy Ghost. And so Winterfest is life-changing for the young people of the sanctuary, and we always make it a point to go. Not only that, but he has a new vision that he has shared with us here at the camp meeting, and one that I have personally experienced in my own family. A couple of years ago, he started a summer internship called C2. He was the administrative bishop of the North Georgia region, and there started a youth conference where they would bring in young people who felt the call to ministry. They would give them about 2 weeks of intense training, ministry training, doctrinal training. And Madison went. As soon as I heard about it, I called Rob Foltz. Had never met him before in my life, but somehow, I don't remember how, I got his phone number. And I called him and I said, hey, brother, we don't know each other, but I think my daughter needs to be a part of this. So they didn't even have their website built yet. And so I had to wait for the website to go live, but I signed up Madison. She flew to North Georgia for the 2-week conference, had a wonderful time. One thing that's really neat about what they do in North Georgia, and I've got a lot of respect for the churches that participate in this, Bishop Bob Penny, Bishop Joey Grizzle is a part of this. Several pastors open their churches for these young people to come and minister. And so Madison, while she was there, she had felt the call to ministry, felt the call to preach the gospel, no idea. And so she went, had an incredible time there. They send you out from this conference to speak. So it's like, hey, you two, you're going to this church tonight. You're going to be speaking to the kids ministry. You guys over here, you're going to this church. You're going to be leading the adult Bible study. You guys over here, you're going to this church. You're going to be ministering in the youth services. I think it's just absolutely incredible. And this was the vision of Tom Madden. And so Maddie went there, and from there spent the summer with Bruce Dill at City of Refuge in Atlanta. Incredible outreach ministry there. Madison was specifically ministering to women who had been rescued from sex trafficking, and just fell in love with the women there at the House of Cherith, and the Lord really helped her. While she was there in North Georgia, she met a man by the name of Billy Wilson, not the one who's the president of ORU, but the Billy Wilson who is world renowned for his children ministry, his bus ministries. He was a 12-year-old boy, I believe, dropped off on the street corner in New York by his mother, was there for several days. Somebody's pulled over and saw him. He's probably in his 70s now. So, do the math of how long ago this was. Somebody pulls over and says, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Well, I'm hungry and my mom's gone." And so this person, if I understand the story correct, and if I'm telling it wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, takes this young man in. I don't know if this person was a Christian, but he made sure that Billy Wilson was on a church bus to Sunday school every Sunday. Changed his life. He went into the ministry, and his burden is that Sunday school saved him. And so he runs something like 780 buses around the world. I think they picked up upwards of 1.2 million children around the world that came into their ministry. He invited Madison to New York City. She spent a year on the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and ministering to children on the streets there. It's really incredible. Bishop Tom Madden's the reason she got to experience all of this. It was this relationship with Rob Foltz that connected her to the ministry, to the military, and that's where she's spending time now in England. And actually tonight, she just so happens to be in Germany, running a youth camp there for children of the American military who are deployed in Europe. And so I'm super thankful for the heart of Bishop Madden, and his burden specifically has opened doors for my family. So I'm really thankful for that. He did an incredible job with us. Joe Dobbins came down. It was my first time meeting him. Of course, I'd heard about his book. He wrote a book about healing from church hurt that I have, and a really special book. And so it was good to get to meet him as a member of the worship committee. I'm part of the prayer group before the services start. And so really, ever since I came into the Church of God, it's given me an opportunity to meet all these guys that come in to minister to us. So I really appreciate that opportunity. Joe Dobbins said something while he was preaching. He said, when it comes to pastors and preachers, we count, as Bishop Claypool would say, nickels and noses. We count. But God weighs. God's not counting. He is weighing the character of the man. God, help me, sanctify me, Lord, so that I won't be weighed and found wanting. I have before in my life. I don't want to do that again. So I thought that was a pretty special part of his ministry there at the camp meeting. Jason Stidham came in and preached one night. Jason, I met him in Vernon, Texas. I was preaching a revival for Bob Dykeman at First Assembly of God there, and that happens to be the church where Jason was saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, called to preach. And he just so happened to come up that morning and be in service with us. I think he was visiting his grandmother or something like that. But it was neat to meet him because I really enjoy his conference. Jason is an Assembly of God evangelist, but he's extremely ecumenical in the Pentecostal community. He has somehow created this conference that includes the Assemblies of God, the Church of God, the Pentecostal Church of God, the Church of God in Christ. He has preachers from all of these different denominations come in, and it is an incredible conference. It's in the month of January. It's in Texarkana, Texas. If you can ever make it to the Acts 3 conference, Lord help me, I can't remember what the reference is. It's either Acts 2, 3, or 4. I don't remember, but he's got an incredible conference there. I try to go down every year. It happens to be like Thursday night when I get to make it down there. But just a hodgepodge of guys from a lot of different denominations, and so even independent guys will show up to that conference. So it was good to see him again and be in service with him. And then finally, for the youth service, we had Scotty Hager come in. He is the youth and discipleship director there in the state of Tennessee, which happens to be our biggest state, I believe. And so he's had an incredible rise here in the Church of God, and it was good to meet him in person. He preached a phenomenal message to our young people on Friday night. The day services, Bishop Carver, and I'll shout him out here in just a minute, but he had local ministers this year preach all of the day services, which I thought was incredible. Got to hear Bishop Lowell Sarton. He is the district overseer in Northwest Arkansas, does an incredible job up there, really helpful for church plants and bringing people in of other ethnic groups. We've got several Hispanic churches in that area. We've got several churches for the Marshallese people. Anytime we have a meeting in Northwest Arkansas, typically we have them sing. And it takes me back to my childhood in the NorCal, Nevada district of the Assemblies of God. There was a pretty heavy presence of Samoans and Tongans. And a lot of times on, I think it was Wednesday night of district council, they would lead the worship. So I always go back to that place when the Marshallese brothers and sisters of the Arkansas Church of God come and sing to us in Northwest Arkansas. I love that. Terrell Watson preached one morning, did just a phenomenal job about being a finisher. A lot, kind of likened her sermon to life being a race and finishing that race. And I was impressed. She did a great job. Bishop Cossey preached what's called our Heritage Day. I led worship for that day. I'm 42 years old. Seems like anytime we have a senior event in the state, my name comes up for the music. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know if it's because I've got too much gray in my beard or what, but I am a sucker for the red back hymnal, and I think that's why they call on me. I'm an old soul, and I certainly enjoy being a part of those services. And Bishop Cossey preached a message on when our memories become greater than our dreams. My goodness, Bishop Cossey, if you're listening to this, phenomenal message. You know that. It was so good. So kudos to the preachers this week. My soul was fed. That's one of the main reasons I love to go to camp meeting. As a pastor, you give and give and give and teach and preach and all of these different things. But I think it's necessary to find yourself in a place where you can be fed. And I was certainly fed this last week at camp meeting. So God bless you to all of the ministers. That being said, shout out to the staff at the Rock. My word. They are first class people, first class Christians, first class hosts. Bishop Terry Watson, you have built an incredible team there. And my first time really to get to be around Brad Watson, and enjoyed being around my friend Jimmy Hudson. He's writing a book now. And so I have a hunch he might be a guest here on the show once it gets a little bit further on his book where we can hear his heart. Taylor, the youth pastor there, student pastor, I'm not sure exactly what his title is, just phenomenal, did a great job with the media. I'm telling you, the whole team, the cooks every night were just, it was great. So Rock, I love you. What wonderful host you were for the Arkansas Church of God. Shout out to Caleb Rogers. I'm on the worship committee. He's the chairman of our committee. When you've got people coming in and out all week and you don't know who you're going to get to use and how you're going to get to use them, and you're trying to piece together a team, I've done it before. It is no easy task. And Caleb just put together a seamless week of worship leaders that came together. And Caleb, I love you, buddy. And the more I'm around you, the more I appreciate you. And I thought we just had a great week together there at camp meeting. So God bless you for all of your efforts. I know that wasn't easy. Shout out to our bishop, Mark Carver. You are just putting together tremendous meetings, and I know that's no easy task. And so you bring a level of excellence that we appreciate here in the state of Arkansas. And I feel like it brings us all, I think I can speak for all of us pastors, it brings us all a little higher. So thank you for that. And finally, our YD, our youth director, Justin Holbrook. He works his tail off, him and his wife, Leanne, just absolutely phenomenal servants of the Lord. I love them like family, and they get very little sleep in camp meeting time, and then they go directly into 3 weeks of youth camp. So I certainly want to tip my hat to you and let you know that I appreciate all that you do. What I wanted to talk to you about briefly on this episode of the podcast is the ministry of presence, the ministry of presence. I preached a funeral today. It is the last kind of funeral you would ever want to preach. Heartbreaking situation. I'm actually going to talk about it not specifically this situation, but kind of the broader context, maybe on my next episode. Heartbreaking, horrible, very difficult place to be in. And what I have found is our words are not sufficient. They're not supposed to be. There's no words that we can say to fix the situation that people we love find themselves in. And I was reminded of a story, and I've shared this with a lot of people because it changed my life. I was a young pastor, had only been pastoring for a matter of months. There was a young man that had come to the church one Sunday morning. I reached for him. If you're a pastor, if you're a preacher listening to this, you know what I mean when I say I reached for him. I left it all out there. Several weeks later, I get a phone call. It was late at night. I was already in bed. This young man, he was in his 20s. It was his uncle. He had put a gun to his head. His mother closed her eyes in the emergency room and saw a phone number. And she told her brother, call this number, call Brother Andrew. And he said, is that his phone number? And she said, I've never had his phone number, but every time I close my eyes, I see this phone number. So he takes out his cell, he dials the number, and lo and behold, it comes to my phone. I answer, and you can imagine the emotion on the other side of the line. I jumped out of bed. I got dressed as quickly as I could, and I rushed to the hospital. As I walked into the ER, there was a chaplain there by the name of Mike Pounders. Mike Pounders I had never met before. I hadn't been in town very long. He was the administrative pastor at First Baptist Church. I walked in. There's no telling what I looked like. I'm sure my eyes were just as wild as could be. I walked in to the ER and he was there. He said, son, are you Pastor Gonzalez? I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, have you ever done anything like this before? I said, no, I have not. He put his arm around me, and I'll never forget this. He said, they don't need your words. They just want you. And I felt like 1,000 pounds had just been lifted off my shoulders. And he said, I know that you spent the whole drive over here trying to figure out what words to say, but can I just encourage you? They just want you, man. That's why they called you. They want you here. And I walked into the most traumatic situation I had ever been in up to that point in my life. And there was such a peace about me. I just walked in and I was there. That is the ministry of presence. And that encounter with Mike Pounders, I met him personally after that, probably 7 or 8 years later. I never saw him. I'm working at the funeral home. He walks in the door. He shakes my hand. He says, I'm Mike Pounders. I said, Mike Pounders, you changed my life. And I got to tell him that story. He totally revolutionized my ministry. And I realized as a 22-year-old young preacher that I don't have all the answers. In fact, I have very few answers. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But I'll be there with you. And that's what we had to do today because there was no words for the situation that I found myself in. And let me tell you something. When you have a friend that is going through a difficult time, you don't have to be a preacher to have the ministry of presence. Just be there. Call them. Text them, show up, drive, whatever it is, be there. Show them that you care. I went through a difficult time in my life, and several months later, I ran into a minister, and he said, Brother Andrew, I've been meaning to call you. I was going to call you, but I didn't know what to say. And I thought, thank you, I guess. I don't know. And so many times in my ministry, I've walked through the door of a terrible situation and I've told people to their face, hey, I'm just here to cry with you. I'm here to put my arm around you. I'm here to love you. So if you find yourself, preacher, minister, friend, if you find yourself seeking for words to fix a scenario that you can't fix, I want to encourage you, just stop. Just be there. Just be there with your friend. Be their strength. Be their sounding board. Let them vent and let God use your presence to bring peace in the middle of their storm. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Like, share, subscribe. I'm telling you, it really helps the podcast. Appreciate all your support. God bless you. We'll see you next time.